Hello, my name is Jack Farrig, and this is the C4 for the Green Beer Day merch design process for my company, Oxford Emblems. So C1 was to clarify the problem. Now, since I had a very wide customer segment, which was all of the Miami student body, and there's a lot of different interests and demands among different groups within that segment, I had three clarifying questions, and that were one, how can I make my designs more eye-catching and unique? Two, how can I make my designs more trendy and popular with current fashion? And three, how can I make my designs more sentimental and play into the cultural and historical significance that Green Beer Day has? I have a financial risk of $4,000, which is my initial cost of goods sold and my break-even point. So my designs here are going to play a large role in my sales. So C2 was capture, and this was a pretty extensive ideation process, coming up with as many ideas as I could. I did work with a designer who collabed with me on a lot of these ideas, a lot of designs. This is someone who I hired through my company that was going to help with my designs as well as with some production work. For C3, I kind of bucketed my ideas, the ideas I thought were best and most fit my clarifying questions, and I obviously sorted them into the most eye-catching and unique, the trendiest and most popular with current fashion, and then finally on the bottom, most sentimental or appeal to tradition. And I organized these ideas and kind of narrowed it down. And then as you can see, I starred certain ones have one or two stars. The ones with one star are fit into two of the three categories, and the ones that have two stars fit in all three categories. At this point, in collaboration with my designer, we decided to go forward with going through iterations and mock-ups of the designs that satisfied either 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 3 of the clarifying questions. And so here in the C4, we have the designs that satisfied 2 out of 3 of the conditions. So we have the Reagan Bush campaign design and its iterations, the smiley face green tongue, the hippie seal and the 3 versions it went through, and then the Rolling Stone shamrock tongue. These are also designs that satisfied 2 out of 3 of the clarifying conditions. So one of them was the Grateful Dead tour tie-dye shirt. So I kind of modeled it off of an existing shirt, changed out some of the words, and made sure to include 70th Annual Tradition, which includes elements from an existing sticky note that said to tie in 70th Tradition or the fact that it was established in 1952. We also have the green beer and hammered Dr. Seuss design, the jersey embroidered design, and then a few iterations of the Thank You plastic bag design that we went through. And finally, the designs that satisfied all 3 of the clarifying questions in the C3 and their iterations. So I designed all of these designs, the first being the Budweiser King of Green Beer Oxford shirt, and the 2 versions changing the word from Budweiser to Oxford, Ohio. Then the Masters, 2 different versions of it. This one obviously incorporating the 70th annual aspect of it. This Green Beer Day Dare one, actually my designer went through iterations of this one. And then this one, the beer stein shaped like Ohio. I did an initial one, and then I added some elements of the foam, and then I put it into kind of a seal for the back of the shirt. So I created some potential designs, but in order to complete my goal of getting some final mock-ups to sell, I needed to go back. So I had to go back to the C3, and this time to clarify with some different constraints now that I had some prototypes done up. So I went through a rigorous feedback process. I showed designs to a lot of my reps and people that were working out with me in the project, went through all the iterations, worked with my designer a lot on a lot of these designs, obviously, as I said, with many different iterations that I showed, and came to a conclusion that there were about 8 or 9 designs that would sell and people were really excited about. And then finally, the final constraint that I had to clarify after I came up with the prototypes were the profitability of each design with different ink colors and things of that nature. And I whittled it down to 5 final designs that I would use to sell. And my final C4, I promise there's no going back or doing anything like that this time. The final create are the prototypes that got the best feedback and were most profitable were chosen as the final designs. And these were the ones that were put on my website for sale. And they were the beer stein shaped like Ohio, the Masters design, the thank you plastic bag, the smiley face tongue, and the campaign sign. As you see, they were all at least in 2 out of 3 of the questions, and 2 of these satisfied all 3 clarifying questions and made it through this process. And in terms of results so far, I have broken even in about 4 weeks of sales, and made a profit against the initial risk of $4,000. So far this process is paying off big time, and I still have 3 weeks to go. So that's my C4 process for coming up with the designs for my GBD merch for my company Oxford Emblems. Thank you very much. This whole process has taught me a lot about obviously running a business and creating products that people are going to be excited about and excited to purchase. And I think this C4 process in particular has helped kind of organize that process and sort of create a sort of checklist, systematic approach to ensuring that I'm funneling the best ideas, the not just the best ideas because that's a subjective term, but the ideas that are specifically targeting my goals and what I want out of my products and what I want out of my merch. And I think that's something that's been really special with C4 is already I'm seeing an impact financially in terms of making money from this process, but in terms of learning as a creative thinker, it's really shown me just a more checklist and compartmentalized way of organizing this sort of abstract concept.